In 1994, Kartemquin Films of Chicago released the documentary Hoop Dreams. The film raises a number of issues concerning race, class, economic division, and education in America. It also offers one of the most intimate views of inner-city life to be captured on film. I'm Max Galeas, and we explore hoop dreams and hoop realities in this installment of The Professors.
From across the city and the 7 city colleges of Chicago, broadcasting from 63rd and Halsted at Kennedy King College. Professors take the art of conversation to a higher degree.
Originally intended to be a 30-minute short produced for PBS, Hoop Dreams eventually led to 5 years of filming at 250 hours of footage for a documentary that became just 2.5 hours long. It premiered at the 1994 Sundance Film Festival, where it won the Audience Award for Best Documentary. The film follows William Gates and Arthur Agee, 2 African-American teenagers who are recruited by St. Joseph High School in Westchester, Illinois, a predominantly white high school with an outstanding basketball program. Gates and Agee struggle to improve their athletic skills in a job market with heavy competition. Along the way, their families celebrate their successes and support each other during times of hardship. We've invited basketball legend Bob Butterbean Love, Director of Community Affairs for the Chicago Bulls, one of the stars of Hoop Dreams, Arthur Agee, and one of the founders of Kartemquin Films and also executive producer of Hoop Dreams, Gordon Quinn. Thank you, all of you gentlemen, for being with us today. Wanted to start with you, Gordon, with regard to the anniversary, the 15th anniversary of Hoop Dreams. Why is this film so special? Why do we remember it still? Those who have ever seen it at least one time have never forgotten it, and those who haven't seen it have always heard of it as this great film in the history of documentary filmmaking. Could you speak to the importance of this film?
You know, when the film began, I mean, Kartemquin had been around for 25 years. We'd made documentaries about a lot of social issues. And these 2 very tall guys came into the place, Steve James and Frederick Marks. We're going to do this short.
Later the directors of the Hoop Dreams.
Steve James was the director, and the producers were Fred Marks and Steve, and Peter Gilbert, who was already associated with Kartemquin. They were looking for a cameraman, and Peter was there. And they became the producers. But they were all tall. They'd all played basketball. They'd all, in some way, shared this dream. Because one of the first things I asked them was like, well, who are you guys, white filmmakers, to be making a film about this African-American story? But the common ground was this love of basketball. They at that time, they were all still playing. They all kind of just, it was a very important thing in their lives. I think what made Hoop Dreams so important, what made it capture the country's attention, you know, when we were making the film, we were raising money and we couldn't get any money. I mean, it was like, it was brutal. No one understood what we were doing. What it moved from this half-hour film about street basketball to this thing where we're going to follow these guys all through high school, and you know, yeah, nobody quite understood what we were doing then. And someone said to me, this was in a, you know, I'm pitching the film for fundraising. Said, well, I don't know if you got a story there. He says, now if something bad happens to one of those boys, then maybe you got a story. Well, that was like horrifying, you know, and right, but what, aside from the coldness of it and the callousness of it, what I think is really important is he was wrong. What made Hoop Dreams so powerful and what made it take off from Sundance on is it shows people overcoming their challenges. Arthur's family has tremendous challenges. William has injuries. People have dreams, but they keep working to overcome them. They don't give up, and these families don't give up. And I think that's what America connected to, and that's what put the film on the map. You know, that it was not, there are very down moments in the film and very depressing moments in the film, but people overcome and families overcome, and I think that's what made it take off.
Did you? Arthur, I've had so many questions over the years I've always wanted to ask you. When the film was being shot, I mean, you were a young man, okay? The 12, 13 years old?
14.
14. And you know, at that time, with the directors and the cameras and everything that's happening in the span of your young life, right? Did you feel anything about the effect of that on your, you know, of these eyes watching you, watching your family? Yeah. Did you see the effect? Did you feel the effect of that at all as such a young person? I mean, did you think this is really, really unique? You never realized that nobody else would have this kind of experience, or did you feel like, oh, this is kind of what happens when you're a young superstar? Cameras follow you, and
no, I would say one way I felt was very special, because I knew that cameras just didn't follow any kid in my neighborhood. So I knew that this was something very special, and by the cameras being around me for so long, I knew immediately that, I mean, I was already kind of mature to be 14, but being around the cameras and knowing, you know, just what they were shooting and what they were getting was honest, and it was nothing that I had to put on for and say I have to be this type of person because the camera was around. I just had to be myself, and I felt that was genuine. Well, they wanted to, you know, film me and my family as it was, as we were living. So I found that very special.
And the idea of also the cameras being there while you're playing, right?
Yes.
I mean, that had to be be exciting at the very least, right? Not to mention, I mean, you have an incredible amateur career as a high school basketball player.
I mean, that's one. If that's one thing I wouldn't trade for the NBA, would be that I am one of two lucky young kids that were able to have their lives filmed from youth all the way up until they get out of college to coming into being a young man. So that was something that any kid would have loved to have had them, you know, done in their life. But, you know, I knew it's a very humbling experience. Yeah. Very humbling experience, because that we didn't make it to the NBA, and that puts us in the eyes of just every other kid who watches us through screen. We just like them.
And puts you also in the eyes of people like, well, Bulls legend Bob Love, who as a all-star NBA player, as a superstar Chicago Bulls player, as a man who has overcome tremendous amount on your own to build the career that you now have. To be involved in communities, to be a leader in the community, and to see how professional athletics can give back. I'm wondering, when you first saw Hoop Dreams, what did you come away with the feeling toward these young men? Because you didn't know them, either of them.
No, I really didn't. I really didn't know these guys, but I can relate. I also had dreams, but back in my day, they didn't really have all of the exposure now for the NBA. It was on the 9 teams when I came up. And my dream was to escape poverty, and I wanted to go to college. I wanted to get an education, and I wanted to get a job. That was all I wanted to do. But during the time that I was in college at Southern University down in Baton Rouge, I was always afraid that that a hotshot freshman was going to come in and take my job. So all through high school and all through college, I never had a girlfriend. I got my first girlfriend, I guess, so I was a junior in college.
So focused.
But all through high school, my friends, I would laugh at me because I stuttered so bad and I never had a girlfriend. But they didn't know. Every afternoon I came home, there she was. There she was round and fully packed. Boy, she'd always go to her grandmother's house. You know, shoot off the rim, back up, bounce off the backboards. Oh man, she never talked back to me. Hey, I had a great time.